Certainly this wasn't good news for the stock either, Greg, but what did the Supreme Court justices signal about their position on this Apple case?
Well, the general sense was that they were going to let the lawsuit against Apple go forward. I counted only one real vote on Apple's side. That was Chief Justice John Roberts, and as many as 7 justices who, while taking different perspectives on the legal issues in the case, might be inclined to vote to let the lawsuit go forward. If so, that's bad news for Apple, obviously. It adds a source of pressure on them to reduce the 30% commissions that they charge to App Store developers.
So, Mark, walk us through the arguments here. Apple takes a huge cut from the App Store. We know that, 30%. It's been in contention before. But what makes this particular lawsuit significant?
So right now, Apple is really pivoting towards wanting investors to focus on its services revenue, right? And basically, the services revenue, the majority of it comes from that 30% cut. So if Apple takes any hit on that 30% because of this lawsuit, their services revenue is going to take a very significant impact. And that's why this lawsuit has puts so much at stake for Apple.
So, Greg, you were saying, talk to us a little bit more about what's behind this particular case.
Yeah, so this is a consumer lawsuit suing, saying we're paying too much for apps at the App Store. And a focus of the lawsuit are the commissions that Mark was talking about there. And what Apple argues, and what the issue is at the Supreme Court, is whether the consumers can sue over commissions that were actually charged to the developers and not directly to the consumers. There's a Supreme Court precedent from 1977 that says only the direct purchasers of something can sue claiming that they were overcharged.
So, Mark, how could this impact the broader industry? Obviously, there are other stakeholders here. There's the Android operating system, which is so much bigger than Apple's. But how could a ruling here ripple beyond this particular case?
Well, there's 2 reasons as why. One, the most obvious reason is because of the precedent that it would set. Is this going to create issues for other app store makers like Google with Google Play? Are they going to have to change the way they charge commissions to developers? Is this going to spark lawsuits from consumers on the Google Android side as well? What's it going to mean for Amazon? What's it going to mean for Microsoft, other companies that operate these stores? What's it going to mean for basically any technology company that operates some sort of online marketplace where royalties are going to the company for hosting? I mean, if you think of any music service, it functions very similarly. What does it mean for Apple's other properties like the iBook store, which had its own, e-price fixing situations, different, but still a lawsuit in the iTunes store? The other thing here, does this mean that Apple is going to start allowing other app stores on its platform, such as allowing third-party developers to create an App Store competitor? Is that one solution to this? Is that one way of settling this lawsuit? So I think there's a few interesting ways this could have broader impact than just Apple's App Store.
Now, Greg, could this actually trigger a massive change in how we buy apps?
It could. I mean, the core of the lawsuit is focused on Apple's control over the App Store. Apple essentially makes it such that consumers can't buy apps anywhere else. And the suing consumers say that's really the source of the problem here. Apple has a monopoly, and it's abusing its monopoly to raise the prices of the apps. So if at the ultimate end of the day, what we could be seeing is a world in which you can buy apps from more than one place, not just the Apple App Store.
Are there any precedents, Greg, that we should be looking at in terms of how the court has ruled on other cases involving big tech companies?
Well, it's kind of hard to generalize in terms of tech companies. The court, this is a generally pro-business court. Usually businesses do win here. Oftentimes these antitrust cases, as happened in an American Express case last term, divide the court along ideological lines. Ultimately, it is possible that the court could divide, say, 5-4, with the 5 conservatives siding with Apple. But that wasn't the sense of what I was getting in the courtroom. It seemed like you may have a bigger consensus willing to let this suit at least go forward.